the big plan that Trump has had is that he's going to delay with all of these criminal trials. In fact, they probably, but for the sort of Damocles that's hanging over his head, they're probably relatively helpful to him insofar as it makes Republicans have to make a decision about what they're going to do in terms of supporting him or not. And it also, I think, has probably led to a lot of good fundraising that's going on. It also taps into the right-wing sense of aggrievement that exists, without which it's like their oxygen. But he also wants it to go slow because he doesn't want any of these things to send him to jail before the election.
Right. Before he can get into office and pardon himself.
It's a fine balance that needs to be struck.
I'm putting all my chips in on the pardon thing.
Did you see Man on the Wire? Okay, let's... here he is with Bret Baier. And this was just yesterday. And Bret Baier is getting all sorts of plaudits for actually asking Donald Trump hard questions. They're harder than most questions you hear Donald Trump, because generally he's not in a position at this point to be asked by anybody who would dare raise any difficult questions. But I think more relevant is it just gives us a sense of where Fox News is trying to be in this sort of run up to the 2024. But here he is asking Trump about all of these boxes of documents that there's been these pictures about.
You mean the box hoax? The boxes hoax?
Folks, I call it the Great Box.
The Great Box.
All right, go ahead. Here's clip number one.
The only way NARA could ever get this back would be please, could we have it back?
And they asked for that.
Because they have no,
They did ask for it.
No, and
they said, can you give the documents back?
And we were talking.
And then they said they went to DOJ to subpoena you to get them
Which
back.
they've never done before.
Right. But why not just hand them over then?
Because I had boxes. I want to go through the boxes and get all my personal things out. I don't want to hand that over to NARA yet. And I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
Yeah, but according to the indictment, you then tell this aide to move to other locations after telling your lawyers to say you'd fully complied with the subpoena when you hadn't.
But before I send boxes over, I have to take all of my things out. These boxes were interspersed with all sorts of things.
What? Well, first off, was he busy?
Yeah, he's like, you know how it is, spring cleaning, it can get really hard and you want to procrastinate on that front.
He had 16 months. I mean, if he ain't going to do it in the first 16 months, and like, is he saying that he's going to literally himself go through these things?
Apparently.
He can't get a lawyer to look through them?
Yeah, I love when he says, which they've never done before in regards to the indictment. The reason they've never done it before is because no one had ever been this brazen in just completely defying what the law had clearly stated, and they gave him ample opportunity to return these things.
I love the indefinite language. He uses, like, this stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
but what documents did he have mixed in there?
I don't know.
Like, where did they get I had
Burger
some
King
cufflinks.
receipts.
I had cufflinks. I had receipts. Yeah, I needed to get reimbursed for some stuff I bought. And but meanwhile, the case has been set, and this is sort of interesting insofar as you probably know, the judge assigned to the case is Aileen Cannon. She was the one who first intervened in this case and basically did all sorts of things that were overruled in terms of trying to help him out in Trump the context of, And so it sounds like she's under a lot of pressure to not drag her feet in this case because everybody knows that's what Trump wants. The trial is set to begin as early as August 14th. There's no way that's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, there's no way in 100 years that that's going to happen. First off, he doesn't even have a judge. He doesn't even have a lawyer. And not only does he have to get a lawyer, but because of the nature of these documents, they have to do background checks on the lawyer. And that takes weeks, if not months, sometimes to do. And so...
and the lawyer's going to have to apply for security clearance.
That's what I'm saying. They got to do... when I say background, I'm saying the government needs to do that as well. And he's still interviewing a Florida-based lawyer to help him with the case. And there's all sorts of other, who knows what other sort of motions they're going to file to slow things down. It would go anything that if the government does not agree with in terms, or I guess theoretically Trump did not agree with Judge Cannon's rulings, it could pause the pretrial proceedings and appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals in the 11th Circuit. That's not a terribly, it's not necessarily, it's not the Fifth Circuit, but it's a little Trumpy. Let's put it that way. But we'll see. I think Trump would have rathered this to be scheduled later, but nevertheless, he's going to try and draw it out as much as possible. We should also say that the magistrate who was appointed in that case, Judge Bruce Reinhart, reminded the Trump team that when you get information from the government for this case, don't disseminate it on any news or social media platform.
Yeah.
Is that in other words, Truth Social?
Oh, I can't blackmail you with...
That's going to be very difficult for him. That's going to be super... I mean, he couldn't even help himself from 3 or 4 days after E. Jean Carroll successfully sued him for $5 million. He went on national television and defamed her again, and now she's reopening the suit. So.
She's lying and crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's adding a couple more counts, I guess, to another suit that she had. The first one was about specifically about the rape. The second is and the defamation. The second one is another set of defamation charges. He's not what a lawyer would say would be an excellent client.
Yeah, he doesn't have discipline. Let's put it that way.
Just to bring the Fox News-ness of this whole, people remember Bret Baier, what he was doing on the actual Trump-Biden election night. He was in email saying, hey, or reiterating to folks that Trump's team is pissed, and this whole call we made about Arizona going Biden, we might want to at least put it in Trump's column for a little bit until it's more apparent, because people are mad at us.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow. He's got a CYA. That's part of what Fox is doing with the tough interview. Man. Yeah, because of the whole dominion of it all.
All right, we're going to play a couple more clips from that interview in a second. But first, a word from our sponsor.